Hi, welcome to Control Talk Now for the week ending July 20th, 2014. It has been a rainy weekend in Georgia. Hopefully the sun will come out a little bit later. But we're sitting around talking about controls. I'm joined as usual by the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Kenny Smyers, the control man from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Kenny, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Eric. Thank you very much. I enjoy being here every week. And gosh, I gotta live up to that great introduction you do. I gotta come up with something for you because you're doing all the work back there in that
Man,
studio down here in Atlanta, Georgia.
I tell you what, man, you make me look good because without that big brain that you have and all that information, I'd just be another blowhard. So it's great working with you, Kenny. And we have in honor of training camp starting, we have our new Pittsburgh Steeler look, which is Ken Smyers with the Control Trends Awards background in the background. And instead of the usual blue that we go with, we're going with black. So the black, and it should be actually yellow, but we're going to call it gold for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny, training camp starts next week. Going to be good. Can't wait for football season. What about you?
Sure, I enjoy it. I can't ever pretend it. I always try to act like I'm not getting excited, but it's just something, it's a lifelong. I played a lot of football when I was young, and it's hard not watch the talent that's on that field, and it just keeps renewing itself. It's the incredible thing about football. It's like a harvest. Every year, there's a whole new set of talent comes in, and you got to see how it plays out. I think there's such great parity in the NFL now. Every team is good. They're very good, and any team can beat the other team on any given Sunday. But it's the coaches that basically I think win out in the end. It's the hard work. It's the strategies, it's the scouting, it's the recruiting, and then it's the actual, it's playing chess. Finally.
Kind of like the HVAC building automation controls industry with all the stuff that's going on these days, right?
Well, I have to admit that our industry hasn't gotten any simpler, any more simple. It's increasing in its levels of complexity and commitments. To be good at this, you've got to invest time and energy every day.
No, that's the truth. And the Atlanta Falcons are going to be the team on Hard Knocks this year, so that could be kind of interesting. Probably a big distraction, but hopefully they'll be okay. So I'm thinking, in the fact that the Atlanta Falcons are on, the theme of this show should be the Building Automation Controls Hard Knocks show. So, but hey, Kenny, let's get it started off. Great news. The Control Trends Awards, rocking and rolling. Vicon announced this week that they're coming on again as a platinum sponsor. So many thanks to Jenny Graves, Nino DeCosmo, and the team at Vicon. We add them to the list of our other early committers, which include EasyIO, DG Logic, Belimo, Johnson Controls, and of course our good friends Mark Peacock, Terry Swope from Link Springs. So we're well on our way. Kenny, anything you want to add about that? You and I are getting busy trying to just create a fantastic venue. For people that might not have heard yet about what's going on this year that's a little bit different, let's just have a little quick recap. What do you say?
Certainly, Eric. It's going to be held January 26th. It's a Monday from 6 to 8 o'clock in the actual facility where the expo is being held. So it's the Hyatt Regency Prairie Ballroom. It's a short 8-minute walk from inside the AHR floor. So if you're in the show somewhere, if you're in a booth, or you're going from booth to booth and touring the show as a checking out the vendors and the exhibits, you can walk right from that show floor directly through the walkways and the overpass looked like there was a walkway that goes from the convention center to the Hyatt Regency Hotel. Inside the hotel will be the Prairie Ballroom, and that's where we're going to have the 2014 Control Trends Award show this year.
Yeah, absolutely, Kenny. It's going to be fantastic and important information. The sponsorship packages, we've had a lot of people that are coming into the industry or people that haven't participated in the past that are very interested in coming on as sponsors. Their sponsorship packages are going to go out this week. First part of last week, our existing sponsors got a package, couple of changes. So this is very, very time sensitive. August 15th is a very important date. So if you see this come in, please take a look at it. Because of the change and because of the venue, the sponsorship rates have gone up unless you've been a sponsor before or you commit by August 15th, in which case you will get last year's rates. And you'll be grandfathered in for a couple of years after that at those rates. So really take a look at that. Very, very important. And again, you're not going to be due, payment's not going to be due till November 1st, but we just need a commitment. And the reason we need a commitment is our pledge is to make this even more spectacular than last year's show. We did have a couple people that sort of, pushed back a little bit, saying that last year's show might have been a little bit racy, and we sort of acknowledge that we might have pushed the envelope a little bit. So our commitment is we'll clean it up a little bit, but we promise to have it be every bit as entertaining. So we appreciate that feedback from the people who had some concerns. And again, this is going to be a spectacular show, and lots more to come on that. But the important thing right now is August 15th. Be sure to check your emails. If you don't get a sponsorship package, please let Kenny and I know. We'll make sure you get one out. But those went out to our existing sponsors end of last week. To the people that are interested in being new sponsors coming on, they'll get their package this week. Now, Kenny, the other thing that's going on is we are expecting a absolutely sold-out show this year. Because of the proximity, because of the time, we've had a bunch of people that have reached out to us saying that not only are they going to be there, but they're going to be bringing people. So if you look, for example, at the Platinum sponsorship, we're actually upping your tickets from 10 to 20 tickets. But understand that's going to be sort of on a first-come, first-served basis, meaning that if the show gets sold out, the people that commit first are the people that are going to get the extra ticket. So again, another reason it's very important to commit to us if you want to be in and be involved in it. But it's going to be a great show.
I made a comment or two about the show and how it's evolving. We love the comments that we get, and if you have if something happens at the show or something that you'd like to see added to the show, we're adding. The Hall of Fame is going to be continued. We have a very exciting announcement in that regard. The Control Trends Awards Hall of Fame. We also have another category where we're going to start. Part of our show here is going to acknowledge youth and acknowledge the channels which we bring talent into our HVAC industry and how we can improve them. And we've got a couple of things later on in the show to do it. But at the 2014 Control Trends Awards, we're going to have a category that's going to be new, innovative, and exciting, and bring in more attention, positive attention to the HVAC industry. That's what it's all about, is to recognize the great products, the great solutions, and the great people, and perpetuate that.
Well, Kenny, I tell you what, let's just take a second, break it down now that you brought it up, because I think this is a huge thing, and we actually do have one of the young superstars will be coming up later in the show, or at least a nominee for that. But Ken Sinclair, I think something that we've all struggled with is bringing young talent into the industry. We don't have a perception as being a real glamorous industry. That was part of the reason Ken and I created the Control Trends Awards. But if you remember Paul Oswalt from ESI, his talk at Ibicon Realcom was basically, if he said if 50% of your staff is not under 30, you are totally, I think the word he used was screwed. Meaning that we've got, as an industry, we have to begin to attract young talent. We have to get them in, and we have to get them in now. Jim Young has talked about this. Paul Oswald actually talked about this. Ken Sinclair from AutomatedBuildings.com, who is one of the fantastic thought leaders in our industry, Kenny, he's sort of picked this up along with us and said, look, we've got to begin to attract younger talent into the industry. So we think one way to do this is to acknowledge the young superstars in our industry, show what they're about. It's a fantastic field, especially the building automation control side. Ken is going to, in conjunction with our young superstars, as we do video interviews with them and bring visibility to them, Ken's going to also feature them on AutomatedBuildings.com. Therese Sullivan, BuildingContext.me is also on board with this. I suspect others will come on board as well. So, I think one of the calls to action right away is if you know a young superstar that's in your organization, we say young, we're probably talking 30 or younger. We could probably push the barriers a little bit, but maybe somebody that is not been acknowledged yet, but we would like for you to send their bio into us at controltrends@gmail.com. Again, controltrends@gmail.com. We'll review them. At the very least, we'll give them some visibility on Control Trends. We'd like to, do a video interview with them or have, people talk about them. They will then be on the nomination ballots. They'll go out for the Control Trends Awards for the young superstars. So it doesn't matter whether it's a manufacturer that has a young superstar, a distributor that has a young superstar, a systems
Contract.
integrator that has a young superstar, we want them all. We're kind of like the U.S. We'll take your young, we'll take your unrecognized, we'll take your people that are destined for greatness, and we will shine a spotlight on them so the rest of the world can see. So we're starting this, like I said, this week, and I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to hopefully attract attention to our industry and attract a lot of the young talent that's out there.
Well, Eric, you're so correct in many things, and I just wanted to read a couple quick comments. There's a great concern throughout the industry, and some of the most prominent members of the industry, like you mentioned, Ken St. Clair, he now has taken charge of the LinkedIn group called Repurposing Young Energy Group, and he's asking for people to put in as much intelligent input, and we're trying to grapple with a gigantic subject. And some people come from the IoT side of it, some people come from the mechanical side, the service, the service technician side. But the bottom line is that here's a comment from Jim Sinopoli that you'll see in Ken's article, is basically that he's talked about incessantly about the shortage of people that can actually operate a building. It's a worldwide problem with the average facility engineer approximately 54 to 57 years of age. We need desperately an influx of young people. Many young kids think back to their high school days and think of facility personnel as wearing a dirty uniform, hauling out the trash. And so what we have to do is refocus and recreate the image where we say there's a lot of really high-paying positions that they're in that channel, but you got to start somewhere. So we're trying to create this green job category that's using the latest technology, and that's what Ken's saying, the IoT. That's a great way to get people interested in this aspect, the building management aspect of IoT, so that we increase the educational curriculums, facility managers. We contact vocational colleges, tech schools, universities, the government, federal and state, the nonprofit aides, large companies, control companies, vendors, manufacturers, and we get unions behind us and the organizations to create an ongoing internship that brings young kids out of high school and give them another option. There was an interesting commentary that right now, the United States, there's a technique where they say that there's a post that was written by a gentleman named Ian Larry about 2 years ago that says some countries treat their human resources in a way that burglars treat hard currencies and valuables. It's something stolen from others and disposed at the first convenience. And what an awful commentary, about the way we might be doing things in our industry is that rather than invest in people and train them through and raise them as a part of an organ, the organized, or where you have a corporate, like the old days where you worked a long time with a company, those days seem to have gone. But the best way to get somebody is to recruit them, to offer them positions, and then to just become part of the corporate culture so that, 10 years afterwards, they're taking over the positions that are critical in an organization. But I think Ken St. Clair is focused, and he's going to be, critical mass. We're going to work as critical mass on the video side, and part of the presentation at the Control Trends Awards is going to be to change the image of the HVAC industry, make it a better place, make it attractive.
Yeah, completely agreed, Kenny. And we're working at a grassroots level, Stromquist and Company. I actually met with the director of one of the big technical schools here in Atlanta, and same sort of perception. They train a lot of people in IT as well as HVAC maintenance, and the IT positions. I mean, they're great IT positions, but a lot of people are not wanting to go there because you're basically putting a tie on. They're putting you in a cubicle. You become part of the farm, as she said. So we're working with her, and we're working with the local systems integrators. They're going to create a continuing education program. Not just for the people that are coming out of high school, but also for people that maybe have a little bit in the field and want to get involved at the building automation side. So we're reaching out to our local systems integrators. They're going to help create the curriculum for this. It would include things like obviously IT security, which is a huge thing. As part of it, there'd be an AX certification class. As well as other things. So again, the thought process is we're going to create the funnel where somebody can come through maybe 6 months to a year with a continuing education program and be ready to go. But she was in complete agreement with what we're saying. She says one of the biggest challenges is people don't understand building systems integration. When I was sort of explaining to her a little about what was going on, she's going, "Oh, this would be fantastic," because she counsels a lot of these people. And once they become aware of what's available, she thinks this could be one of the hottest things going, which would really help get this whole message out and hopefully fill the need for qualified building automation control specialists. And again, that we have no illusion about the fact that somebody's going to come right out of one of these programs and step in and be a superstar, but they could step out, have enough knowledge that they could be mentored and hopefully contribute very, very quickly. So exciting things, Kenny. Again, thanks to Ken Sinclair, the godfather of the thought leadership here in our industry, again, spotting a trend and coming up with a solution. So stay tuned for that. But the action item right now is, if you know young superstars, please let us know, controltrends@gmail.com. All right, Kenny Smyers, let's get rock and roll. What do we have up first this week?
All right, the first post we had was the Energy Department invests $14 million in innovative efficiency technologies. And this is really cool. It's like the Department of Energy all of a sudden has come to life, and they put out 3 or 4 email posts a week now, and they're causing excitement within different levels of the industries and private sectors. So the Energy Department announced the $14 million in funding and 15 research and development projects to support technologies that will contribute to the advancing early stage breakthrough of energy efficient solutions for buildings and homes. So 7 incubator projects will be funded with nearly $6 million to improve heating, ventilation, air conditioning, water heating, sensors and controls, and building energy modeling. Additionally, 8 frontier projects will receive $8 million to address energy efficiencies in advanced clothes dryers, windows, buildings thermal insulation. Frontier projects seek to improve efficiency of existing technologies by incorporating new innovative materials or components. So, and then finally, we have costs shared with $3 million investments from industries. The projects are intended to dramatically reduce energy consumption in the commercial and residential buildings. In the year 2013, this accounted for nearly 40% of all the energy use in the U.S. And that was something that you had said a couple of times about what's the impact of commercial and residential building on energy. Well, this latest study, 2013, accounts for 40% of all the energy used in the United States, an estimated cost of $413 billion. So let's if you want to see more information.
Kenny, just super stuff there. And I would tell Eugene Mazzo and Scott mentioned Jason Briggs, those guys out in California. There's a project in Sacramento. I don't know the top of it right now, but one of those projects getting funded is somebody's coming up with an energy dashboard to be able to show how more efficiency. So the money is there. A lot of it, Kenny, was equipment stuff. Things like water heaters and stuff like that. But I think that's probably just because people in our industry haven't picked it up and said, hey, let us show you how we can have a better control. I mean, contemporary controls, which we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show with that sump pump controller they have. I bet somebody like that could get some funding. So, Kenny, way to stay on top of that. Suffice it to say, if you're a manufacturer or have an idea, there's money to be had. So check it out. And Kenny's got it laid out where they can show you exactly what to do and how to get there. All right, Big Dog, what do we have up next?
All right, next up, Eric, we have the 2013 Control Trends Awards highlight. Tritium's Ed Merwin was a co-winner of the PID Award, and that was just a look back at some of the excitement of the actual 2013 Control Trends Awards show. It's a very prestigious award. The professionalism, integrity, and passion is one of the highest honors possible in the HVAC building automation controls industry, and that's what this thing we led off with the show about, getting more prestige and recognition to some of these executives that are highest quality executives just in the HVAC industry, but there's no spotlight on it. There's no parity with lawyers, doctors, accountants, and there should be, because these guys like Ed Merwin and Mike Marston that won the co-winner of the PID Awards. I mean, these guys are top-notch executives. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Ed Merwin?
Well, Ed is, we call him the godfather of Tritium because we've said this before, but Ed is the great communicator. And back in the day when open systems were just coming out and Tritium was just the spark in Jerry Frank's eyes, Ed Merwin was the guy who went out and was able to communicate the concept in such a way that we could all embrace it. So Ed is one of the truly great thinkers, communicators in our industry. And the co-winner was Mike Marston from EasyIO, Mad Mike Marston. Again, a guy who his dedication, his loyalty, his innovation is just unquestioned. This guy travels around the world and is just so passionate about what he does. And so people sort of asked about, why do you guys have co-winners? And I won't go too much into detail, Kenny, but I will say that when people are involved, the People Awards are involved. I mean, if it's within 3 or 4%, we call it too close to call, so we honor both participants. So the Worldwide Control Trends community votes on these awards, and so in this particular case, with Ed and Mike, it was too close to call. And again, I mean, if you think about attracting people to the industry, that's one of the functions that we think is critical, the Control Trends Awards, because it does add a little bit of glamour, a little bit of flair to our industry. And not only that, both Ed and Mike will go down in the Control Trends Awards Museum, which is another piece that we have, and we'll talk more about it. So their names will be remembered forever. So if Ken and I are successful and Control Trends is more glamorous than baseball and professional sports, so that the best control trends, the best control tech out of high school that's coming out with the biggest potential, hires an agent, gets drafted, is able to hold out, and then, they'll look back and they'll thank guys like Ed Merwin and Mike Marston for making this possible. So, I exaggerate a bit, but Kenny and I are holding it that way. We've taken it on as making our industry more glamorous, and also making sure that we recognize the superstars. And that's the whole point of the Control Trends Awards and the Control Trends Museum, is to capture the heritage and history and the great people and products and companies in our industry. So, again, congratulations to Ed Merwin. As the Control Trends Awards roll on, we'll be repeating more of those type videos so people can remember the 2014 Control Trends Awards and get ready for the 2015. What do we have up next, Kenny Smyers?
All right, Eric. Next up is we're kind of changing pace here. Why you have to be at the EasyIO World event in Madrid, Spain. And that was a nice post you did. We truly live and do business in a world economy. But sometimes the world comes to you, and sometimes you have to go out into the world. And if you need a good reason or a good opportunity to take a break from the daily grind as usual in the good old US of A and see the world, don't join the Navy. Instead, attend EasyIO's world event taking place in Madrid, Spain, this September 15th through the 17th. And it's going to be a well of a combination social event. There's golf. There's a tour of the stadium where Madrid Real plays. Then there's going to be the nuts and bolts training, an all-day session on applications and product development, product announcements, and then probably some shop talk there, shop talk and shop action where you're going to go through some applications with Mike Marston. Then there's an incredible evening in Madrid, Spain. So looking forward to it because guess what? We're going to be there.
We're going to be there, Kenny Smyers, for sure. Mad Mike Marston, Lem, Gordon Chen, SK Fu, the rest of the team are going to be there. It's going to be fantastic. Kenny and I are going to be there. We're talking to Mad Mike now because, as you know, Kenny and I usually like to travel with an entourage. So if you go to the Control Trends Awards, you're going to get the Bond girls. You're going to get the Rockettes. Hey, if they'll let us, we'll bring those girls over there too. But you know what? We don't even need to bring our own girls over there because I've been to Madrid, Spain before. And not only is the food great, the city's great, the eye candy's great. I personally will teach you guys tango. I've got to talk to Mike to see if we can get this on the agenda, but maybe a night of tango dancing in Madrid. And if you've never tango danced before, it's Argentine tango, and it's pretty phenomenal. But I can show you how to do that. But it's going to be a great time, and I think the thing is the world is, a guy wrote a book a while back called The World's Flat, Thomas Friedman, and it really is. These technologies are worldwide. I think in certain aspects, maybe we have something to share because we're ahead. In other aspects, I think Europe's ahead. So what better way to get informed, get to see a great city, have a great time. And again, I'm not an accountant, but I suspect it's one of the few ways that you can go to Europe and write it off on your taxes. But check with your accountant first because I am not a professional accountant by any way, shape, or form, but I can teach you how to tango dance. All right, buddy, what do we have up next?
Well, you can't beat that, Eric. I might have to take you up on that. Okay. Next up, Eric, we have Intelligent Buildings. Start simple with an IB, Intelligent Buildings Advisory Starter Kit, but get started. We're very fortunate that we met up with Tom Shercliffe, co-founder of Intelligent Buildings LLC, at the IBCon 2014. the Intelligent Buildings group is just an exceptional group of guys. They have one of the most advanced staffs that I've seen. We have a direct URL to their website, but these guys do it all. They have big clients like Duke Energy, GSA, Cisco, Microsoft, Wells Fargo, Oxford, and just the list goes on. But what they came up with at the show that I thought was really novel was that they realized that a lot of people there at the Realcomm IBCOM show, it's too much. If you hit them with too much information, too many questions, it's like it's an overwhelming experience. So they came up with starter kits for new buildings. They came up with a starter kit for building systems, cybersecurity, and then a start kit for building facilities, integrating the entire analytics. And it's a really good starting point for building owners to have an opportunity to review where they're at and where they want to go. And I think their technique that the Intelligent Buildings folks use is that it starts with an interview. Where are you trying to get? What do you need to happen first? And then they have a very straightforward but highly professionally developed approach to achieving those solutions.
Well, Kenny, couldn't agree more. These guys are super, super sharp. Tom Shurtleff, Rob Murchison, and the whole team they have. And what their company does, I mean, one of the themes that we heard both not only at last year's Realcomm IBCOM, but this year's Realcomm IBCOM as well, Kenny, is that you got to get everybody talking. Okay, you can't just depend on the building automation guy to figure it out, or the IT department, or the CFO, or the CEO. All those stakeholders have to come down. They have to sit down. They have to come up with common goals and objectives and lay it out. Otherwise, you're not going to get a good implementation. And unfortunately, those different stakeholders usually don't play well, or maybe they're not even invited to the table. So I think what Tom's company and Rob's company does, Intelligent Building, I think what those guys do is they know what it takes to be successful. All you have to do is go to their website and see the people that they've mentored and coached to get it done. And what they're basically saying is you really need to bring somebody in from the outside that knows what they're doing to put the pieces in place, have the conversations, get the people communicating. Otherwise, you could have the best technology in the world. Your implementation is probably not going to go well, and you're not going to get as much out of the system as you could. So, it's one of these things. You bring the hired gun in, the experts, the people that have done it before, and these guys have. Again, all you have to do is go to their website, you'll see. It's pretty phenomenal. And one of the things that these guys talk about, and as a matter of fact, Kenny, we posted later in the week another interview with both Rob and Tom, so you got to check that out. That actually got posted today, which is Sunday, so be sure to check that out. But one of the things that these guys talk about is they talk about risk, and they are all about managing risk and all kinds of different risks. But what they'll tell you, which I think is absolutely true, is a property management person or a building owner, the biggest risk you can incur right now is to do nothing. So it's absolutely critical that you get involved in this kit that they have is free. We got a link on the website where you can go get one. Encourage you to reach out and talk to these guys. They know what they're doing. And not only that, they're good guys. Even though Tom's a Carolina Panthers fan and we're Falcons fans, they're good folks. What do we have up next, Kenny Smyers? Anything else you want to say about that?
Yeah, I did, Eric. I just wanted to do the summary was that these guys are really the top shelf group. They're recognized thought leaders with numerous industry firsts, including consultation on the award-winning Smartest Building in America, conception and developed on a Clinton Global Scale Initiative, public-private partnership program, management for the largest energy analytics project in North America, and the development of a national smart building standards for both the United States and Canadian federal governments. Intelligent Buildings has worked extensively throughout the United States and Canada in over 50 different cities, along with other selected international work in market research in the Middle East, Asia, and Central America. Like you said, they're headquartered in Charlotte, North Carolina, but they have offices in Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, and Washington, D.C., and they've taken on some of the world's most intelligent building and real estate projects since 2004.
These guys are top notch. Kenny, and now this is not what they said, okay? So this is a question I have that I like to ask my clients, but they have nothing to do with this, so if this doesn't go over well, it has nothing to do with these guys. So the question you have to ask your clients when you go in, is your building smarter than a 5-year-old? If it's not, you need to call guys like this and get it squared away.
Well, that'll get some attention there, Eric. Well done.
All right, Kenny
No,
Smyers, what do we have up next, buddy?
well, this is the fun part now. And again, we're just going to keep massaging these themes until we make them household words and terms. But we're talking about the master systems integrators. We've talked that for over, probably 2 years now, beginning primarily with Jim Young and his introduction. That concept keeps developing, but we actually are becoming more knowledgeable about it by knowing who master systems integrators are and how they operate. And this is what makes the master systems integrator HEPTA control special. And it's a great post that we got from, or a great video that you did interviewing the father and the son, Jason. I think it was Tom. Tom's the
Ted's the dad.
Ted, yeah, Ted Hook, Houck. I'll tell you what intelligent group of guys. Those two guys are. The father son. First of all, the tandem was really cool. They're a company out of Canada. They're from Sarnia, Ontario, Canada, and they also have a office in the United States in Michigan. And but they love their work. They're passionate about it, and they're so knowledgeable that they're scary. But they have just 4 awards under their belt, one after another. They got the award at the Niagara Summit, NS4 Summit. They got the award at the IBCon, and there were a couple other awards that they recently, because of the incredible integration they did in one of their Detroit, Michigan projects. Why don't you tell us about what your thoughts are and how the young superstar that we kind of, our theme, this guy here is the person that, epitomizes the young superstar.
Well, Kenny, I have not heard of these guys, which just goes to show how we really need to shine the spotlight on these guys, because these guys are extraordinary. They won awards at the Niagara Summit. They won awards at the IBCon Realcomm show. And if you watch the interview, you just see the depth of what they're doing with integration. Father, son, Ted and Jason Houck, I think is how they pronounce it. Fantastic guys. But you look at it, and it's kind of like, one of the things I said was, I looked at it and I said, so these guys are not your father's integrator, your systems integrator, because Jason, the son, is so innovative. And I looked at him, I said, well, in your case, maybe it is, because I think the fact that Ted, the dad, we call him Big Papi, really, I think, embraced and appreciated what his son Jason brings to the table, which is one of the key themes that we're seeing. You got to bring in youth, and you got to listen to them. You got to train them, and you got to listen to them, and you got to let them innovate. These guys are tremendously innovative. So our first superstar to watch, young superstar to watch, is Jason Houck from HEPTA Systems. You'll get a feel for him on this video, but we want to get Jason back on, and we want to do him upright in terms of a video interview. So, Jason, if you are watching, which I suspect you are, because one of the traits of young superstars is they watch Control Trends, and we will tweet you too, because you gave your Twitter handle out. But we're going to get Jason back on. Ken Sinclair, he's our first guy. Therese Sullivan, Jason Houck, the first young superstar to watch. Jason, buy your ticket to Chicago for the Control Trends Awards. Actually, you don't have to buy a ticket, but buy your airplane ticket to come to the Control Trends Award in Chicago, because Jason epitomizes, one of the guys that needs to be recognized. So hail to Jason, our first young superstar to watch.
And just a summary too, Eric, about the company, the HEPTA Control Systems. Their logo is Building Automation and Security Solutions Without Boundaries. They were founded in 1993. Their headquarters in Sarnia, Ontario, with a recent expansion to Detroit, Michigan area. They became superior providers of service for installing, managing, building automation and security systems. They're qualified to work on 14 different automation brands, and they're one of the most diverse control contractors in the United States and Canada. And they currently provide services with several different industries, including the commercial, industrial, and multi-dwelling buildings.
Well, and who is their distributor? Our buddy, Scott Cochran, Cochran Supply. So, of course, Scott Cochran is working with the young superstars. Now, Scotty, you're a little bit too young to be a young superstar, but if we'd gotten you about 5 years ago, you would have qualified. So either you got to start working out, go get some Botox, a fake ID, but you would have been one of the young superstars back in the day. All right, Kenny, what do we have up next?
All right, Eric, next up we have the EPA launches the 2014 National Building Competition. See the list of competing teams. This is an Energy Star program, and it's finally here. Last week, the United States Environmental Protection Agency launched the 2014 National Building Competition. In addition to the individual building competitors, this year's battle features a new special theme called Team Challenge. And at the end of the competition period, the FEMP will recognize the highest performing federal government building that participates in the EPA's 2014 competition. Now, this sounds incredibly, non-governmental, doesn't it? I mean, this is actually an interesting program. And if you go see the competitors, it is amazing who's actually competing in this. Obviously the GSA teams are, but you have, oh my gosh, go to the site and you'll see there's the Arlington County, there's Harvard, Behringer Harvard, there's, just CB Richard Ellis, the Department of Commerce out of Gaithersburg, City of Charlotte, just goes on First Potomac Realty Trust, it just goes, there's 5,500 buildings, and the competition list is available on that URL site. But I think, I don't know who PREI has over 100 buildings participating. The Red Clay Consolidated School District, it just goes on. Sears Holding Corporation in about 5-6 locations. And so the bottom line is that with all this attention and this competitive spirit, the end result is we're saving a tremendous amount of energy. We're becoming energy efficient. We're reducing the carbon footprint. So it's a win-win-win. And then somebody gets to win the competition and then share their methodologies. They're going to share their technologies. They're going to share how they were able to achieve this lowest Energy Star or highest Energy Star performance. So it's a neat program.
Kenny, it's a really neat concept, and what amazed me is they have the buildings, they have the projects, and for lack of a better word, I'm going to call it a coach. They have a coach. I tell you what, I was amazed at the number of people that are in our area that are participating with that, and some of the companies that are acting as their coach that I didn't even know. So one thing I would say to our distributor and integrator partners out there, it's worth going to this site just to see who the mentors are, because you could go to them and provide some services. I see this as a great opportunity for our industry to reach out and get involved. I suspect we are getting involved indirectly, but it seems like these major manufacturers would want to be coaching, these individual buildings and what they can do, because it obviously involves spending money, and it obviously involves control systems and equipment sales. So I think this might be one of the hottest prospecting tools of the day, and that's all thanks to the man, the myth, the legend, Kenny Smyers. So thanks for that, Kenny. Kenny, what do we have up next, big dog?
All right, next up is another possible product for product of the year. Now this thing I think is written up as a residential redundant sump pump controller, but it's a product from Contemporary Controls, complete with an application guide. Where we lived, in the rain, you said it was a rainy day in Georgia. We've had rain 3 straight days. In fact, I had a friend, a contractor friend, that took time to go to the Music in the Hills in Ohio, and it's big country and western 3-day festival with the top country and western bands and singers and performers, and it has rained the entire 3 days. So I feel terrible for them because it's been just a mess. But a lot of people are getting flooded out here in western Pennsylvania and West Virginia, and a lot of sump pumps are being sold. A lot of people's porch wells are being, stairwells are being clogged by various things and whatever. So this is a great product where Contemporary Controls takes their vast knowledge on controllers and networks, their expertise in writing a program with Sedona, and then basically publish an application that describes redundant sump pump controller systems and incorporates the BAS remote backnet controller that executes with the Sedona framework logic to run a redundant pumping application. And redundancy is stressed in different points of the design. Alarm and event messaging sent via email alerts. Remote access to the controller is accomplished by opening up ports in the homeowner's residential gateway. And then 2 sump pumps are provided lead lag sequencing to even out their run times and to verify each pump is operating properly. Even though it's a residential application, it shows the capabilities of the BAS remote as a versatile backnet IP controller that's freely programmable using the Sedona framework. So once again, hats off to Contemporary Controls, always coming up with something important and relevant for a building or residential application.
No, absolutely, Kenny. And think about it, lead lagging your sump pumps and having a backup. I think, hey, Kurt and George, see the earlier post where we talked about the government spending all that money for great new designs. I mean, this seems like this would be right up their alley. I mean, with the sump pumps not flooding, I mean, you're saving water. So who knows? Maybe you can get that one actually funded by the government. So check it out. But a great product. And Kenny, I'm assuming that they could use this, even though it's for sump pumps.
Oh, sure.
Is it configurable enough that you could use it for different types of pumps or different applications in a commercial building?
Yeah, I got a feeling that this controller could do. There was a master pump controller one of the manufacturers put out, or control vendors put out a while back. And, Johnson Controls had the most famous pump lead lag controller out there, the alternator, pump alternator. It was a big old panel, but my gosh, we sold a bunch of them. They were very relevant, and they were the only solution at the time. But once the UDCs, the PLCs got into our industry, they started saying that they could do it too. So basically, you monitor pump status, or you put in equal run times. You lead and lag, or you need a pump. If the pump can't do it, the second pump comes on. If you don't have enough oomph from the one pump, so you have a controller that can do all these things. I got a feeling this thing here could do that. And for many people that are doing lead lags on their pumps for a commercial application, it seems to me that the same input could be read. So if you lost a pressure, you use one of the differential at P74FA-5 is probably the most popular one on the big industrial ones. Commercial, you use the Mercoid DPA, and what they did was they measure the pressure. If you lose pressure, then the switch makes and brings on the second pump. So I got a feeling that you could use this residential controller for a commercial or even possibly an industrial application, because it's already figured out the hard work. It's already.
Well, I tell you what, if it's not now, I know in George Thomas, who we think is one of the smartest people in the industry, wouldn't take him long to get that dialed in and figured out. So, well, good. ContemporaryControls.com. Check them out. What do we have up next, Kenny?
All right, Eric. Next thing, another big contemporary theme for Control Trends Awards has been privacy in conjunction with Internet of Things, the technologies, how they're overlapping, and what it means. And on July 10th, where was that? That was in Menlo Park, Silicon Valley, California. There was a one-day Trustee Powering Trust event, the Internet of Things Privacy Summit. And this was amazingly interesting and important. We say Top Guns because if you look at the speakers that were there, it was an incredible array of representation from different segments of the business and from the government. You had people from the FCC Regulatory Commission. You had people from vice presidents of Integral Ad Science. You had the CEO of Trustee. You had just one superstar after the other, but they're all coming in with great concern, because what seems to be happening here, Eric, is that the amazing rampant emerging mobile technology and the collection of big data, and the kind of after the fact regulatory, after the tech style of regulating these industries, that we've seen the government can't keep up with this incredible emerging technology. So basically, this summit gave a chance for the government to catch up with the advanced privacy and security issues that the collection of big data, rampant emerging mobile technologies, and after the tech style of regulating pose. One of the top agenda was the big debate. And the big debate had the million-dollar question: can we have privacy and the Internet of Things together, or are they just plain mutually exclusive? This was a really interesting summit that's going on, and we need to be, it's relevant to our industry. We need to start catching up to these developments and having a constant update for our benefit on what's going on, and how that the government is doing its best to catch up to big data and the people that are providing services. But there's so many privacy issues and security issues that it's just difficult to manage. So we're going to see a lot of self-regulation come out of the industry, and these are the people that are doing it.
Because I had was at a dinner party a couple weeks ago, and one of the guys there was a lawyer, and so I asked him some of these questions. He said that is probably the biggest field in law right now, is this whole privacy thing. So if the lawyers are involved, the rest of us are going to have to be involved. So, I agree with you. I think we got to stay tuned. I think this was very comprehensive. The conference that you got the videos from, I think it's a great starting point. It's long. Each one of those sections was over an hour. So get your coffee, sit down. It's interesting stuff. But I think maybe what we can do, Kenny, is hopefully break some of this down and maybe get a couple of these people on the show to talk about it.
Was how savvy systems integrators, property owners, and police departments will use drones in the future. Why don't you tell us about that? There was a fun post, and I got a lot to say about that too, because I see this becoming one of the most important uh, developing industries out there.
Well, Kenny Smyers, we're out there walking around the hallways at Ibicon Realcom. Almost got buzzed by a drone, man. The drones are coming. They're just as cool as they could be. AJ Jalavalette came up to us, wanted to know if he could be on Control Trend, so we shot a video with AJ. So this is the man, the myth, the legend, interviewing AJ Jalavalette from Terrasaurus, which is got to be one of the coolest companies going, Kenny. And all I got to say is, we could talk about this till we're blue in the face, but a video is worth a million words. And to see how this thing is used and the possible ramifications of this coming into our industry is phenomenal. The drones, I think, are here to stay. As a matter of fact, I think I want to go out and get one. So you'll see this video. Your wife or your significant other will say to you, what do you want for your birthday or for Christmas or whatever? Just say, call AJ. Tell them this is what I want. So, it was just, Kenny, just too cool. Too cool. What did you think?
Well, to get a hold of them, it's Terrasaur, Terosaur, as in like a dinosaur. I tell you what, I was very impressed with the video because they show actually doing the reconnaissance outside the building and evaluating equipment. They show the delivery of a set of keys. A person got locked himself out of his car, and his wife could call a service and have the second set of keys delivered by this delivery service to the stranded motorist who could now get into his car. We saw a security application where on the board where rather than send some police officer or a security officer into a potentially dangerous situation, you send a drone in first, and it does an evaluation. It gives you that immediate assessment, and then you can take over the drone there and make it go closer or whatever. It could give out. You could have tell the person that they're under surveillance, to cease and desist, get away from the fence line. So you'll see all kinds of. I can see a government, all foot patrols. Anybody was doing walking around. Golf courses. I see universities, colleges. I think every single fire department, police station would be benefiting the services of a drone because it would save you, number one, inadvertent contact with a dangerous situation because you could eliminate that. You won't stop it, but you can minimize it, the exposure to human life. Fire departments could use it if they get a fire alarm. You could send the drone out to the actual address, and they could do thermal imaging and tell you if there's an actual fire there or what the situation is, and give you video feedback. So at universities, if somebody hits the duress button there or whatever, you can have a drone immediately respond to the location there as the first response, and that the responding patrol people can actually use that video assessment while they're responding to prepare for it. Fire departments could do that video assessment, set up an entry control point at the most desired point based on traffic situations. Or it's just incredible technology that I just don't know how you'll have like flying lanes and how many feet off the ground and hitting. Is it going to be like a bat where it can automatically sense an impending collision with a telephone pole, or how do you work those things out? But I think that's all coming. I think that
well, the FAA is really involved in it, Kenny, and I think that's probably the biggest holdup they got. They got to figure those things out, but it is really, really cool. Amazon sort of started this thing, around Christmas last year, about how they're going to start delivering packages with these drones. AJ was telling us that it doesn't sound like they have a lot of weight-bearing capacity right now, so I don't know that that's going to happen anytime soon. But our friend Lindsay Baker from Comfy Systems, we did a post on her earlier in the week, who lives out in San Francisco, said there's actually a taco place called Taco Drop in the Mission, and they're actually using drones to deliver their food. There's a lot of applications for maybe drugstores delivering medication that way. I think this is the future. I think that we'll get it dialed in. Those things are going to come out. So I think that we'll see those come out probably about the same time the Google cars come out that are driving themselves. And hopefully way before that, Ken and I will have our sets of Google glasses from Google so we can wear them on the show. It's all changing, Kenny, and it's just changing kind of in an incredible, wonderful way. And, the other side of that we spoke about a minute ago is the whole security issue and stuff like that, because who's to say you couldn't have that drone following you around? You get a disgruntled wife that thinks her husband's maybe cheating on her, and now the drone's following her around. You can see private detectives having those things. It's a cool thing. It really is. And AJ, Google's going to give us the glasses. Why don't you give me and Kenny drones, and we'll put our little cameras on them, and we will video Control Talk now from the sky with your drones. But check this guy out. It's just cool stuff, Kenny, and we're going to hear more from AJ and his team. It's so cool. But, one of the coolest videos, like you said, that we actually, had incorporated was a guy was up, they were inspecting, the drone was inspecting equipment on the roof. They saw a drain that was clogged up. There was a bunch of leaves and stuff like that. So the drone just sort of comes down right over it, and I guess it turned its rotors up or whatever, so you could see it blowing the leaves away from the drain.
Sure.
So it's cool stuff. I know in the photography realm, Kenny, people use them. They'll put those GoPro cameras on them, and they'll do videos from there. I know at the Honeywell Momentum Conference we were at last year, there was somebody there that was actually above the hotel with a drone that was taking pictures of the events, or videos of the events actually from the sky. So very, very cool stuff, Kenny. So man, it's a great time to be in the industry and tracking what's going on.
Sure, Eric. Just a couple of things real quick. The load bearing capability is 2.5 pounds with a 4-motor unit. But there are units that they can specially tool and fit. They can carry up to 12 pounds. They can travel for 40 minutes on their batteries, and they could actually travel at an airspeed of 40 miles an hour. And we do have an interesting relationship that we have a drone expert that we could consult with as time goes on and as the idea gets bigger and better. And that's Scott Mensch from J2 Innovations. Do you know that's his hobby?
He's I didn't know that.
He's a drone master. Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me because Scott Mensch from J2 Innovation, J2N.com, is one of the most interesting guys I know. So it does not surprise me at all. Kenny, what we should do is, we've got a new format. We're coming out with a new show that we've got in the works. And we ought to get Scott and AJ and maybe some other people on and talk about the drones. And speaking of shows, Kenny, I think Friday we've got our second Johnson Controls Tech Talk, which will be live. We'll have Chris Lane, I think Chris Eichmann on there. So if you have some questions for those guys, you can do one or two things. You can either email them to us at controltrends@gmail.com, or you can tune in live, and there's a chat option, so you can chat your questions in, and we'll get those to Chris and Chris. All right, big dog. Anything else you can think of right now?
Well, there's two things. We have one more post, and that was the second post on the intelligent building folks. And the reason why is that these guys are the top shelf guys. Hey, look at these beautiful pens they gave us with the great writing pen and practical flashlight. Tom gave me one of those. Thank you, Tom. But the Realcomm interview at the Realcomm Live is the last post. And so we basically have more from Intelligent Buildings, Tom Shercliffe and Rob Murchison. And this is more about their strategies. Again, like you said, they begin with dialogues, but their methodology is based on an extensive experience working for both the commercial real estate owners and solution providers. So they interloculate. They're ambassadors. They align the internal and external stakeholders, resulting in a strategy that's customized to the objectives of the clients. And throughout the process, we consider the fundamental principles of people, buildings, and technology. And they just, we can go on and on, but please give these guys an opportunity to help.
All right. Well, that's way cool. Now, listen, there's so much that we track every week, and there's so much great information that is sort of indirectly affects our industry. So we're going to add another little segment every week. It's called Ken's and the Rest of the News. So Ken's going to take one or two or three key posts that he's been tracking and keep you guys up to date. Kenny, what do we have up first on Ken's and in the rest of the news?
Well, Eric, I'll tell you what, the disruption has not stopped. We see Dell, Intel, Cisco, Microsoft, and now we see an alliance between IBM and Apple. IBM has agreed to take the iOS devices into their IBM accounts. It become an Apple support entity. So they're doing a mobile-first strategy. This is great for Apple, and it's great for IBM, because now that they've made a choice on they're going to use Apple phones. They're going to provide a big, deep-pocketed partnership. So IBM and Apple have joined hands. Some of the things that I was reading that Steve Jobs would say, "Hey, we finally won." But what's happening is in the bring your own device to work environment, IBM couldn't come up with a phone, and they can't come up with the smart devices that are going to be part of that bring your own device to work. So what they're going to do is just make an alliance with Apple, make an alliance with the iOS, protocol, and get in the game.
Well, it sounds really cool, Kenny. I think the other thing too is IBM really plays in the smart building space. So I wonder if we're going to see an effect there where IBM and we don't see more Apple products in the smart building space. I know Apple was at the IBCon Realcomm show as well. We know that they are interested in participating too. So perhaps that's an ancillary benefit of those two guys coming together. So what else was in the news this week, Kenny?
Well, again, it's right along. Microsoft lays off potentially. Well, I tell you what, they didn't actually cite a figure, but just on the announcement on Thursday last week that they're probably going to lay people off. They bought Nokia, and they got 25,000 employees from Nokia. So right now, Microsoft is sitting with 127,000 employees. And the comment was that they have to get leaner. The Satya Nadella, he gave the State of the Union speech for Microsoft last week, and all he talked about was Cloud OS, Azure, Office, and they kind of didn't say Microsoft or Windows until about 20 minutes into the presentation. But they did a demonstration, or to talk about how they did a Skype translation from German to English, and this translation was so effective that the demo worked. It was kind of dry and stilted, but they said the translation was so impressive that they think that there's going to be a lot of translators losing their jobs. So we're going to see a reduction in numbers to the middle management or marketing management of Microsoft. This is what this source projected, and that this announcement caused Microsoft stock to go up a considerable jump. And we're just seeing more disruption. So imagine you come up with a program that's going to put translators out of business.
Well, Kenny, I tell you what, I like this guy. I think Microsoft finally's got a pretty cool CEO. He looks cool. He sounds cool. He's got the team very, very focused on mobile and cloud. Those are his two big buzzwords. Bill Gates was a genius, not the most charismatic guy in the world. Steve Ballmer would probably be a great guy to have on your rugby team, but he was kind of hard to listen to, at least for me. But this guy is articulate. He looks cool. He sounds cool. And you know what they say, Kenny? If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it must be a duck. So check Microsoft out. Good stuff. All right, Kenny Smyers, we're up against it time-wise, so we're going to close the show out right now. But, hey, for those of you who reached out and really loved Rick Warner and his guest, the innovator and the optimizer, and requested that Kenny and I take that out and make that segment available as a standalone, we're doing it. Look for it to be posted on Control Trends this week. Look for your sponsorship packages for the Control Trends Awards. Look for our young superstars. And Kenny, that's it. Hope you have a great week, and stay tuned to ControlTrends.org next week for all the control news you can use. So have a great week and stay in control.
Indeed, Eric.
Indeed, Kenny Smyers.